Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Faryon.
And I'm Dwayne Brown. Special pay premiums are fattening up retirement benefits for county employees. We'll have a special report from investigative news source.
But first, tonight's top stories. The man who brought us the Mac, the iPhone, and the iPad has died. Late this afternoon, Apple Computer announced the death of its co-founder, Steve Jobs. He'd been suffering from pancreatic cancer and stepped down as the company's CEO in August. On its website, Apple says it has lost a visionary and creative genius, and the world has lost an amazing human being. The company says his spirit will forever be the foundation of Apple.
2 people from Mexico have died in separate incidents trying to cross the rough waters and come ashore in San Diego. Border agents say Mexican smugglers have been increasingly turning to the sea to skirt border security. They've been using panga, or fishing boats commonly seen in Central America and throughout the developing world. These modest-sized boats are equipped with an outboard motor and are also very popular with Somali pirates seen here. At least 115 of these boats have been stopped in San Diego this year, and because it's so dangerous, penalties for those caught will be stiffer.
People that are apprehended coming into the country by this manner are also going to be formally removed. That's different from if they're apprehended coming across the land border, walking in which case, if they don't have any criminal history, they could be offered a voluntary return to Mexico.
Jimenez says the first incident happened Tuesday night around 10:45. That's when 3 people were trying to swim ashore near Imperial Beach in the South Bay.
2 of these people came ashore and were apprehended by Border Patrol agents on the beach. A 3rd individual did not come out of the water, and after a search, that person's body was found just beyond the breakers in the water.
And around 2:30 this morning, border agents spotted a panga boat using cameras mounted near the coastline in Pacific Beach. Jimenez says there were 15 people on board.
Of those individuals, 1 was determined to be deceased. That person never got out of the boat.
Earlier this year, 2 smugglers were sentenced to 5 years in prison for leading a boat packed with undocumented migrants in San Diego last year. 2 passengers died. More than 20 people were crammed into the 26-foot boat.
A Lancaster man is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow in connection with a string of shootings along San Diego freeways. Enrique Ione was arrested in Los Angeles yesterday and brought here. He's accused of opening fire in 4 spots along the 805 and 5 freeways on Monday morning. Those shootings prompted several freeway closures. 1 person was hurt in the shooting spree. Ione is being held without bail.
A man accused of killing his detective mother and his sister in Rancho Penasquitos has been found incompetent to stand trial. San Diego Police Detective Donna Williams and her daughter Brianna were found stabbed to death in July. The officer's son, Brian, was arrested and given a mental evaluation. It found he was unable to understand the charges against him. Williams will be sent to Patton State Prison for up to 3 years or until he regains his competency.
Hundreds of California state prison inmates continue their hunger strike today, including 63 at Calipatria Prison in the Imperial Valley. They are protesting what they call inhumane treatment of inmates in solitary confinement. Joining me by phone is Scott Kernan, Undersecretary of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Mr. Kernan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is actually the 2nd hunger strike in months, but this time it's been reported your department is taking a hard line on striking inmates. In fact, perhaps subjecting them to disciplinary action. What does that mean?
Well, in the initial hunger strike, there was some sincere analysis of their demands or issues, and so we, worked through them. We did not discipline anybody, even though it's a clear violation of our policies, as we were sincerely trying to work through some of the issues. In this instance, there is no such issues. The inmates are doing this. They have not, they or their advocates have not stated any reason. They've demanded to talk to the governor and won't talk to departmental officials, and so we are handling as we would typical mass disturbances in our system.
So what does that mean then? What kind of disciplinary action would these inmates be subject to?
In accordance with the Title 15, our rules governing inmate behavior, they'll be issued a disciplinary report, and then each one of those will be adjudicated by lieutenants, senior hearing officers at the prison, and they can range from loss of privileges to a shoe term to loss of behavior credit.
Now, quickly before we go, you say there's really nothing to their complaints, although aren't they saying that after the first strike, CDCR didn't really uphold its promises with regard to changing some of the way the conditions are in solitary confinement?
That's just not true, and so the department made a number of changes, as we said we would in the first instance, and so in this instance there's been, so while some may say that, it's just not accurate information.
Quickly before we go, last hunger strike there was talk about force feeding. Could that happen during this strike? We
have an obligation to keep inmates alive. It would be by court order. We wouldn't do that on our own, but if it gets to that level, we will seek court action to force feed inmates, yes.
Scott Kernan, Undersecretary with the CDCR, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
The federal receiver in charge of prison health care told KPBS force feeding violates medical ethics if inmates are of sound mind and conscious.
A San Diego company called Stimagen cloned the first human embryo in 2008. Today, scientists in New York say they've done the same thing, stirring up ethical concerns once again. KPBS science and technology reporter Peggy Pico joins us from the News Center with the latest on this debate over human cloning. Peggy, tell us more about the cloned embryos here in San Diego and New York.
Dwayne, in both cases, the cloned embryos were only grown in a lab. They lived for a brief time and are no longer viable. They were created in hopes of finding new ways to make a particular type of stem cell that can be turned into any cell in the human body.
Could these cloned cells eventually turn into people?
Well, this is the crux of the ethical debate. I spoke with Michael Kellichman, director of UCSD's Research Ethics Program. He said the majority of scientists support human cloning as long as it stops in the lab. The moral issue revolves around if and when someone tries to implant a cloned human embryo and grow it into a baby. So far, no one has succeeded.
Peggy, are there federal laws against human cloning?
Well, that's what's so surprising. There is no federal law against human cloning whatsoever, but 15 states, including California, and California was the first to pass a law that really severely restricts human cloning in research and certainly human cloning for reproduction value.
KPBS science and technology reporter Peggy Pico.
You can call them the benefits that keep on giving. An investigation by the Investigative News Source, a journalism nonprofit at San Diego State, reveals special pay premiums for county employees help plump their retirement benefits. In fact, those salary add-ons totaled more than $100 million in the past 4 years. My next guest is Investigative News Source reporter Kevin Crow, who uncovered the numbers. Kevin, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joanne.
Tell us what special pay is.
Well, special pay is a lot of things. So there are actually more than 80 categories of special pay that the county pays out to employees. The big ones are uniform allowances, pay for being in bilingual positions, and auto allowances that go to the supervisors and then about 40 other employees.
So you actually looked at some of these categories. You totaled them. For example, the bilingual premium, more than $3 million
Yep.
went to employees?
Right.
So who gets this special pay?
Well, a lot of different employees get them, and so when the county had a bigger bonus program, more employees got more pay. But it's negotiated by employee group, and so sheriff's deputies are eligible for certain kinds of pay, nurses are eligible for certain kinds of pay, the supervisors get a car allowance, and directors of departments are eligible for certain kinds of pay as well.
I mentioned in the intro that it totaled more than $100 million in the past 4 years. Is this pretty typical?
It is. I mean, it's not typical for the county. I mean, it's it's averaged about 13 million and change for the last 2 years. For 2007 and 2008, it was more around 43 million.
Oh, why the difference then?
Well, the difference was they cut a program called the Quality First program, which were performance bonuses, and so employees got bonuses for saving the county money in certain aspects of their job. But with a tightening economy, they decided to cut the program. So
now your story really focused on how these add-ons can contribute to increasing pension benefits. Give us an example of that. So let's take an employee that makes $65,000 a year and retires with maybe 20, 25 years of service, and they
in addition to their $65,000 base salary, they got an extra $2,500 in special pay. Now that'll work out to somewhere around $1,800 extra a year for their pension. And so if you have somebody maybe making a supervisor's salary who got an extra $12,000 a year, the 20-year payout for a pension would be $144,000 a year. Or not, I'm sorry, $144,000 over 20 years.
So we all hear now so much about pension unfunded liabilities, sort of pension debt, cities and counties across the country. Is this why people now are saying maybe we ought to be looking at these add-ons, or shouldn't they count in terms of your pension payout?
Well, I think pensions are hot topics in general. And so the San Diego County Taxpayers Association, for example, says that absolutely not, special pay should not be included in an employee's pension. It's gouging taxpayers, and they already receive pensions that are good enough. However, the county would say, no, we need to have these extra premiums because we need to hire people and be competitive with other markets. You know, they tout nurses is a tough one because they have to compete locally with companies like Kaiser who offer some better pay. And so they give these extra premiums to some of their workers in order to keep them working for the county.
Quickly, Kevin, where can people see this complete story? What's your website?
They can see the complete story and county employee salaries at inewsource.org.
Great. Kevin Crow, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
The U.S. State Department says there's an increase in international child abductions, and most of the children are taken into Mexico. A look at the trend is coming up from our Fronteras desk. And a talk with former San Diego Mayor Dick Murphy. A national magazine once called him one of the worst big city mayors. Now he's written a book about his time in office. We'll talk with him about it as KPBS Evening Edition continues.
Tonight on KPBS at 8, it's the smallest independent state on the globe, covering just 110 acres with a small population of 800. Discovering the secrets of the Vatican. Then at 9, consuming the labor of entire towns, taking 100 years to build, Nova takes a look at the world's great Gothic cathedrals. And at 10, Nova illuminates the legend of King Solomon and reveals the great wealth of the first biblical kingdoms. That's tonight on KPBS. Next time on Doc Martin, Marigold is cooking up something with Bert in the kitchen.
Nobody to pluck it.
So you're not a pheasant plucker then?
Oh, no, but I know how to undress a bird.
And Louisa's midwife wants a water birth.
Funny.
But the Doc's not buying.
You're not seriously considering giving birth in this Harpies paddling pool, are you?
On Doc Martin, Thursdays at 9 on KPBS. KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
International child abductions are on the rise, according to the U.S. State Department. Mexico is the #1 destination for children abducted from the U.S. 65% of all cases of children taken away by one parent end up south of the border. Roxandra Guidi from our Fronteras desk has been looking into this trend. Roxandra, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Now, you followed the story of one man whose daughter Samantha was abducted. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's right. Brian Ducey is in his early 40s. He's a San Diego resident. He was married to a Mexican woman. They split up, and in an act of desperation, his ex-wife left him and took Samantha with her to Tijuana.
Now, you actually followed Brian to Tijuana. What was that trip like?
That's right. Brian, thanks to working through the Mexican court system, he's been able to see Sam once a week to basically visit her until his case is resolved and they can be reunited again as the left-behind parent, as they call themselves. And so he was on his way to go see Sam, and he invited us to come along, and this is him speaking to us on video.
It's one of my favorites. It's a look. I cherish this look from her, and I didn't know when I'd ever get this back. And yeah, it's one of my favorites too. It captures her in sort of a raw, innocent 2.5-year-old moment. She's just barely 2 at this point, 2 years and 2 months. that's how she always looked at me. This was a look she gave me that morning when she wanted to help me making pancakes that day. You'd hear things in the news about stories like this. You'd never think it's going to happen to you, and you don't understand what's being done to bring kids home, or the effort that goes into bringing kids home only to find obstacle after obstacle. We don't know any of these, so I didn't know what any of my options were. I don't think anybody's been recovered from Mexico under The Hague, but there's a lot of legal ease and a lot of maneuvering the other parent could do to make sure that you will never see your child here if you do this. So that was the decision. I just said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it on my own. I'd like to think we're close. Yeah, we've overcome a lot of obstacles. It's unique here for a father to come and take responsibility and really step up to really honor their child in the way that you have to in a situation like this.
Now, those final shots there of the house, that's where Samantha is living now. What chance does Brian have of actually getting his daughter again, getting her back?
Well, his lawyers tell him he's closer than ever right now. He's actually chosen to work within the Mexican court system instead of just the Hague Convention. The Hague Convention is basically a mechanism. It's a convention that a lot of countries, 70 countries around the world, have signed to try to get kids back to their home countries. But he believes that it's working through the Mexican court system that'll get him his kid back, so he's actively trying to do that. And he hopes that by next year he'll be able to get some back.
What role does the U.S. State Department play in all of this in helping other parents?
The U.S. State Department basically works as a guide and communicates with the Mexican system to try to speed these processes up. But a lot of parents, including Brian, feel like there's just not much that they can do, and so that's how they end up working, within the Mexican court system on their own. And some parents go as far as basically planning reverse abductions to try to get their kids back. So they're difficult legal issues that they have to contend with.
How long has Brian been apart from his daughter?
It's been 2 years now. He's on to his third year. And
as we said in the beginning, Brian is one example of many parents. There are a number of cases like this, aren't there?
That's right. Just to Mexico, between both 2009 and 2010, there were 500 kids, American kids, who were abducted into the country. But the number has been on the rise since 2007, and also including other countries, even countries that are not signatories to the Hague Convention. So if a kid is abducted into one of those countries that's not part of the Hague, it's even more difficult to get them back.
And do we know how often, from those statistics, parents are successful in being reunited with their children?
It's rare, and it takes a long time, and it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the case of Brian, he said he spent almost $150,000 just with legal fees and travel fees. So it can be very, very difficult for parents to get their kids back through the Hague Convention.
Roxandra Guidi, thanks for being here. Time magazine once labeled him as one of the worst mayors of a big city. But Dick Murphy's new book, San Diego's Judge's Mayor, How Murphy's Law Blindsided Leadership with 2020 Vision, is his own perspective on what went wrong and right during his tenure as San Diego mayor from 2000 to 2005. Joining me now to talk about that time is former mayor San Diego, Mayor Dick Murphy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Why did you decide to write this book?
There were three reasons. One, I wanted an accurate record of what happened while I was mayor. Two, I wanted to pass on some lessons learned that maybe others could benefit from. And third, I had share some proposals for the future of the city that I hope somebody someday will implement.
I think part of clearing up the record is the whole pension issue. As we know, your administration was at least in part responsible for approving increased pension benefits and also underfunding the pension. So now we end up with a $2 billion plus unfunded pension liability. I know in your book you take responsibility. You sort of say, I take responsibility for this, but in a way you don't as well. And I just want to read an excerpt from the book. Those of us on council had relied on city staff members to guide us through the arcane actuarial tables, pension formulas, and projections. Later, it became clear that the mayor and council did not fully understand the complexities of the city's pension system or the pitfalls inherent in the city manager's recommendations, which we could have and should have challenged. So did you not know when you were casting that vote what you were actually voting to do?
I don't think we understood the implications of what we were voting on. I think the issue is that we had a responsibility to know what we were doing. There's a long history in a city manager form of government where the city manager basically is in charge of personnel matters and you kind of defer to him. And so when he came up with his recommendations, his past recommendations had been good, so we sort of thought he probably knows what's best and followed them. But, you know, as I say in the book, you can delegate authority, but you can't delegate responsibility. The fact that we were not fully aware of the implications of our vote is really not an excuse, because we are still responsible for having cast that vote. That was one of the contributing factors to the pension deficit.
In your chapter about the pension and later in your chapter about stepping down from office, though, there is this sense that you look to past decisions that were made. I don't know if you used the exact term witch hunt, but sort of the media was really hard on your administration over this. Do you think you were treated unfairly over this pension issue?
Yes. In this sense, it was correct to be critical of what we did. That we were part of the mismanagement. On the other hand, it was sometimes forgotten that we had inherited half of it from prior administrations, and that other cities across America were experiencing the same thing, which was sort of overlooked. And then on top of it, people seem to forget that we did accomplish a few positive things. We built a ballpark. We created an ethics commission. We stopped sewer spills. I just thought it should have been put in perspective. So criticism was fair. It should have been just put in perspective. That's all.
In the chapter where you talk about stepping down, your decision, you didn't mention the Time magazine article. And I know at the time there were stories that came out that said that perhaps your decision really was the final straw in terms of your decision to step down. When you saw that story, was it hurtful, the Time magazine story, labeling you one of the worst mayors?
Absolutely. You know, first of all, you know, I thought it was somewhat unfair. The other mayors they were criticizing were chief executives of their city. You know, I wasn't the chief executive. I was, in essence, the chair of the city council legislative branch. So I had less control than these others. And secondly, you know, they never interviewed me or asked me what I thought about this. I would have, you know, in the fall of 2004, I was the Politician of the Year of Library Magazine for my efforts on libraries. I won a National Park Award for our efforts on the San Diego River Park. You know, none of that was ever mentioned. It just focused on the pension problem all by itself.
We asked some of our audience what they would like to ask you, and I want to read one of the questions Jennifer Morrissey mentioned on Twitter. She asks, would you have done anything differently? And if so, what?
That's a good question. First of all, I would not have run for re-election. That was a mistake. I really had intended only to serve one term, and I got talked into running for a second term. And secondly, I certainly would have handled the pension votes differently. It was a mistake to vote for the city manager's recommendation, which was to increase benefits and what turned out to be increasing or continuing underfunding. Big mistake. Wish I could do it over again.
Well, Mayor Dick Murphy, thank you for being here. And I do want to mention your book actually does lay out 10 proposals, sort of how you see the future of San Diego. And the book title again is San Diego's Judge Mayor, How Murphy's Law Blindsided Leadership with 2020 Vision. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We've got your reactions to the Occupy San Diego movement coming up in the public square. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
I'm Gwen Eiffel. On the next news hour, Google's executive chairman, Eric Schmidt, plus Paul Salman reports on the Wall Street protests. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
In the last year, KPBS News has been honored with nearly 36 awards. I'm extremely proud of these honors, and I thank you for your support as we continue to serve our local communities with award-winning news coverage in the years to come.
This fall, PBS invites you to get ready for great moments and breakthrough performances, for the best in music and dance. For 9 weeks, PBS presents 9 special events from across America. The PBS Arts Fall Festival.
Fridays at 9, beginning October 14th on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Earlier this week, we told you about Occupy San Diego, the protest movement that is making its way from Wall Street to San Diego. The New York protest began as a demonstration against corporate greed. A lot of you have been commenting and tweeting on this story. People across the country have been sharing their stories of economic hardship on a Tumblr site called We Are the 99%. And now we want to share some of those stories with you. Here's one woman's story. She's 38 years old. She says no health insurance, no savings, $90,000 in student loans, $80,000 underwater on home, one bad month from being homeless. And now another post. I am a single mom of 4. I go hungry daily. And one more from the many posts. I'm 61, lost my job, my place to live over a year ago, moved in with my children. Thought that would never happen. They are struggling too. Do you have a story to share? Send us your photo or email us with your story. Or maybe you're on the other side. Do you think this protest is justified? We want to hear from you. You can share your story by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course you can always email me. That's at news@kpbs.org. I would love to hear from you.
Recapping tonight's top stories, 2 people are dead after trying to come into the U.S. on panga boats. One drowned off Imperial Beach. The other was found dead in a boat in Pacific Beach. Border agents say they are seeing more and more of these fishing boats trying to bring undocumented migrants into San Diego. California prison authorities say they may resort to force feeding of inmates who are on a hunger strike at several prisons, including one in the Imperial Valley. The inmates say they're striking because of broken promises from the state corrections department. Apple computer co-founder Steve Jobs died today after a battle with pancreatic cancer. Jobs was known as an innovator who brought the world the Macintosh computer, the iPhone, and of course the iPad. He stepped down as the company's CEO earlier this year. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening. We leave you with a look at the forecast.
Good night.